Hag admits it was a risk buying younger players this transfer window. All of the juicy bits from the embargoed version of the press conference this weekend for the Spurs game is coming up. We're going to get through all of the details. Where do the results leave Manchester United from what's happened, and what do they prove over the case of this weekend now? Over the span of this weekend now, Manchester United and the result, and how important the result is, going off how everyone else is doing. More details on that, and putting what Ten Hag has said together with what's actually happening in reality right now in the Premier League. We're going to get through all of that. We're going to look ahead to the game a little bit as well, get your thoughts and your feelings on how you're feeling this morning, confidence-wise, ahead of the Spurs game. A massive game for Manchester United and Spurs, but more probably Manchester United and Ten Hag right now than Spurs and Postecoglou. We'll get your opinions on everything that's happened and has been said in the news world of Manchester United. Welcome along to the morning show. Match day, 8 o'clock Sunday morning. What more do you want? Talking United, getting prepped and getting yourselves in the mood for Super Sunday at Old Trafford today. Get your comments in, please, in the live section right now. I'm going to bring up as many of them as possible. Make sure you comment afterwards as well. If you are one of them late risers and haven't seen the live show, make sure you comment below. Give this video a like. Let's get as many of them in the bag as we possibly can. And of course, make sure you have hit that subscribe button on the road to 60,000. Can we get there over the next week? We are less than 700 away from that 60,000 mark. So please do hit that subscribe button as well, everyone. Let's get into the show. Well, Ten Hag has been talking about the risk and the gamble Manchester United played. In the embargoed version of the press conference, Ten Hag was asked, is it a risk buying younger players? Do you feel like it's a bit of a gamble rather than spending money on players that could come in and make an instant difference, i.e. pretty much what United have done previously, but I kind of get United haven't done that previously. What United have done is they have bought players that are completely past it in terms of playing more than 1 or 2 seasons at the football club, rather than buying players that are ready to go. So when the question's asked about ready-to-go players, and then fans automatically go into, well, this is what's failed us before, it's not the same. We're talking about going out and buying the players that are ready to go, that are at the right age, that United just won't spend the money on. United are going out and spending bigger money on players that really are just not worth it in terms of longevity and playing for more than 2 seasons, like I said. So United not buying the ready-made players right now because really there's a few reasons why they wouldn't do it. It's like we're not in the Champions League, we're not in the best place right now, and players that have made it and are ready are probably looking at clubs that have got Champions League football because they haven't got time to sit into a project. Manchester United are not going to pay big money anymore, and these new players coming in aren't going to want to sit around for 3 or 4 years while United actually come back again. So United's target audience is clearly going to be target players is clearly going to be the younger players, and I think this is why. So I don't actually have a problem with what Ten Hag has said regarding buying the younger players. This is the decision we've made. That's what Ten Hag has said, and obviously it is a risk buying the younger players, but you've also got to look at the fact, and Ten Hag does allude to it as well, with the financials. That's true. PSR, financial fair play. With the new structure coming in and regime at United now, obviously they're going to make sure that they are running the books properly. Not like Manchester United before. We have to recoup a lot of money from player sales. We have to try and balance books that were completely cocked up by the old regime. So no issue. Ten Hag is dead right about that in saying that the financials are very, very, let's just say that they're knife edge. I think that's the easiest way of saying it. Like, we are on the edge of financial fair play and PSR restrictions. So Ten Hag is right. It is a gamble doing it, but we have spent an awful lot of money. And players brought in, younger players brought in that don't actually play, kind of goes into a different argument, doesn't it, though? Like, well, you're also saying you're going to get criticised in this press conference every time Manchester United play. You have to open up and answer questions about the style of play. The problem that Ten Hag has got is that he's got other managers in front of him right now, which is kind of killing every single argument and every sort of debate that he has got within himself, arguing with the press conference, with reporters, with pundits. He's calling all of these out and saying that they don't understand where it is where Manchester United are. The problem that Ten Hag has got right now, and where I get the younger squad is more for the future, and we need to start building for the future. He still has had 2 years before, and needs to produce the goods this season. And the senior players he has got in, like Casemiro, don't really like the tactics that's going on. And we've seen that because Casemiro's come out talking through The Athletic about him not being happy with how Ten Hag is playing. And now Casemiro, after saying that, hasn't started for 4 straight games. So clearly is a little bit of unrest there with his senior players at the football club. I think sometimes you could say there's an understanding there that United have had to go out and buy younger players. But there's also like that using the younger players as a shield is to say they need time. They need to develop. Well, no. You've had 2 years already. And like I just said, the problem he's got is he's got Unai Emery, he's got Mikel Arteta, he's got Maresca now at Chelsea, who in short spaces of time have turned their teams around while balancing younger players and senior players, older players that are more experienced in the teams while spending less money than what Manchester United have. Now, it's not up to Ten Hag how much money is spent and how much is spent on one particular player, but these are his players that he's bringing in. Look, the signings that we've made, like Mazraoui and De Ligt, I think will be the 2 key signings this summer for Manchester United in this season because they are experienced and they know what it's like to play at a big club. You can tell just by the way that they've slotted in. You can see clearly how Joshua Zirkzee, being the younger signing, is still finding his feet and struggling a little bit. Experience is everything in football. And when you're coming to a fast-paced league like the Premier League, it is incredibly difficult for younger players to adapt straight away, especially if they've been playing in a league like Serie A, like Zirkzee has. And the pressure then goes onto the manager because he's trying to deflect away from the players. And it's right what Ten Hag is doing in defending the younger players because even the fans now, with the defence of the club and the manager, are still going in on some of the younger players like Zirkzee. The criticism which we have talked about endlessly on this show all of the time. It seems to be like every other day right now that some people, he's like the Marmite factor right now, isn't he, Zirkzee? He's not going to make it. He has got the qualities. He can be a good player. Look, this is the sort of fine line that we've got with young talent at Manchester United, where we want to develop that young talent and work with the squad. And Ten Hag said in this press conference that it is a good squad now, and we need to work with it. Because the question was asked as well to Ten Hag, do you feel now that you have got a good enough squad to compete? It scares me, it really does, because I know that this team is good enough to get top 4. We've been there before and we've added good players in. The younger players are sort of coming of age. You're starting to see the Garnachos and Amads come through right now. It's the senior players at this football club that I feel are the ones that are letting Ten Hag down. I really do feel like that's his problem. Whether you could argue it's Ten Hag's fault or not, that's there, and you can talk about that forever and a day. Ten Hag's issue is his senior players. It is quite clear. The 2 that he's brought in, you could even add Agate, but even Agate at the age he is, he's still young. 23 is very young. 25 and 26, that's the age player that United need to be going for rather than the younger player. That's the argument as such. I'm not saying that they should be going for that, but you do need the balance. You need players between 25 and 30 in your squad. You will not make it otherwise. It is impossible. You cannot rely on young players and expect them all to develop at the same time as a team. The Busby Babes eras and times like that are gone. Even the class of 92, when they came through, they had experienced, quality senior players to guide them through. You cannot expect these young players to come in and just hit the ground running. It's not fair on them. The pressure is too much. And like Ten Hag said the day before, the scrutiny is there every single game for these players, so they need to protect them. And finally, we're in a position where we can take Mainu out of the spotlight. Amad, Garnacho, Zirkzee, all of the younger players can be just taken out of the spotlight when needed and necessary because he's got other players there to work with. The senior players have just been playing so poorly, and I don't think are on board with what Ten Hag wants to do, that this is the problem. We've already heard about Casemiro. We heard that Marcus Rashford using Ten Hag's tactics because he was playing more defensively as to why his goals have dried up. And then you're hearing about, obviously, we're not hearing anything, but we're just seeing Bruno Fernandes, I should say. Like, you look at them 3 players alone, the most experienced players in Manchester United's team, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, and Marcus Rashford. And not one Manchester United fan can say that them players are absolutely tearing it up for Manchester United right now. If you've got them 3 senior players at your club playing well, you get results. The prime example has been Christian Eriksen, 33, one of the oldest players in Manchester United's team right now, experienced beyond Christian Eriksen, quality player. Obviously, he is coming to the latter stage of his career right now. But when Christian Eriksen's playing well, Manchester United usually play well. But Bruno hasn't been playing well. Christian Eriksen can't play every single game. Rashford's hit and miss at the moment. We've seen better signs this season, yes, but until he finds consistency, I don't think Ten Hag's system will work. Bruno Fernandes has to be playing well every single game for Ten Hag's system to work. And I'll go back to what I just said at the start, which is the problem Ten Hag has got is his time. You can talk about now building the squad and actually giving these players to develop, giving these players time to develop and get better, but you've already had 2 years and the scrutiny's already started. The problem you've got is what happened in the previous 2 years have really set Ten Hag up for a fall this season, because in the first season he got a trophy and that was great, and he goes back to saying that we've won 2 trophies and this is success for Manchester United, but then he goes back and says last season that we overachieved last year in the league, and then that's the standard that's set. So everybody goes back to what he says. Yeah, you're all right defending yourself with 2 trophies, Eric, but you also said that first season was a fluke when Manchester United finished third. It was never a fluke. Manchester United played some decent football in Ten Hag's first season, and we all thought we were going to move on from that point. I just don't understand why we have to forget about that season. It's not a new season bounce or a new manager bounce. It's a full season with 50 plus, nearly 60 games in it, where United got to 2 finals, got third in the league and a quarter-final of the Europa League. It was a very, very good first season for Ten Hag, but it wants to be forgotten about in certain parts, and that's what I don't understand in where he's coming from. He needs to look at that and go, this team has got it, and we're doing the same things, and we're trying to add to the squad to get back to that stage, and we're working on trying to get the mentality right and that winning mentality right within the squad. I just don't understand why he wants to forget about that season or forget about the league last season because of it. It's like, you've done it before. Be proud of actually finishing third in the league and use that as momentum and tell these players, look, you've done this before. It's just a weird one to me how he looks at it and how he sort of contradicts himself at times and how he wants to use the best bits to back himself, but then forgets about some of the good bits that he has done within his time at United in the Premier League, and say that was just a fluke. No, you created that, Eric. You created that environment. You should take credit for that and then keep them standards there. Because taking a risk this season on younger players is just unnecessary because, like I said, we're not in the Champions League. PSR issues, overspending over years with Manchester United's regime. Ineos' first season, we've done fantastically well in that transfer window to get what we've got. And I think we should be actually quite pleased with it. And I think we have got a very, very good squad. We've got balance and we've got options in every single position. When Shaw and Malacia come back, you are looking at more than 2 players for nearly every single position in that squad. It is more than enough, and the quality is definitely there. He has to stop using excuses and just provide now and produce. Probably not provide, but produce is the word I'm saying, because you've got Postecoglou has instantly got a style of play. I talked about Maresco. I talked about Unai Emery. Obviously, Arteta's taken a few more years, but I think that's probably the guide. And what a lot of people cling on to is like, look at Arteta. They're finishing 8th, they're finishing 6th, and then it finally came through. They started to get better and get better. But the problem you've got with United is, yes, we're on the sort of like same trajectory. We're winning trophies at the same time. And we have got some bad finishing league positions. If you look at it, we're actually done better than what Arteta did in terms of his league positions in Ten Hag's first 2 seasons. So you could argue, yes, give it time and let's see. But what he keeps on doing is saying that they were flukes. That first season was a fluke, basically, and we overachieved because of what happened last season to defend the poor output from last season. But Arsenal are not as big as Manchester United. Chelsea, Villa, no matter what you say, they're not as big as United, and United cannot afford to have seasons in the wilderness. They can't afford financially for it to happen because of what the Glazers have done. And Ten Hag is right, and I think Ten Hag knows this, and I want to give him his credit for actually saying it but not making a big deal about it either, because he knows the pressure at United is completely different to everything else. Completely different. And for some reason, Manchester United don't react like other clubs do, which is good, because they understand how different it is at United. Say, for instance, Maresca has a poor seat. Like Pochettino last season pulled Chelsea back from the wilderness and finished the season really strong, but they still sacked him. This is the problem that United have got. It's like the hierarchy are balancing the pressure factor and how much more scrutiny is on Manchester United with their decisions in keeping managers and sacking managers. That's how I feel. And I think that Ten Hag is in the position now that this is his last chance. 3 years is more than enough to actually provide at least the style of play, which we're not getting. And this is why every single game now coming up is massive, because we've got Spurs today, we've got Villa coming up, we'll have Chelsea coming up as well. All of these other younger managers that I've just talked about then, new managers that I've just talked about then, that are providing at the moment and obviously producing results right now, are making the situation at United look 20 times worse, because nobody stays still. Everybody improves, and no one's going to wait for Manchester United to come back. So we have to set standards straight away. Otherwise, we're just going to be forgotten about. We're going to be back into the wilderness, a mid-table cup team Manchester United from the 80s. Do we want that? It's great picking up trophies. We had Michael Bridge on the show last night from Sky Sports, who's a massive Spurs fan. And he would jump at the chance, he said. Thank you for all the comments on the video and everyone who watched that, by the way, last night. Something a little bit different for you. But he was seen as a Spurs fan. And I asked the question, what is more important? Enjoying your football every single week and seeing a decent style of play and knowing what your team is doing, sort of like entertainment factor, basically, or sitting through a season of the unknown, the hit and miss, the poor football, and then picking up the silverware. He jumped at the silverware opportunity. I feel like that's a different mentality from a no disrespect smaller club, which Spurs are. Don't get me wrong, Spurs are a massive club. They're huge. But when you compare them to United, it's complete insignificance. It really is. Everyone else in the Premier League is, apart from Liverpool. It's as simple as that. We all know it. Everyone tries to be the bigger club. Everyone says they've got this, they've got that, they're building up. No one is anywhere near Manchester United, except Liverpool, who are coming even further down into second place in terms of stature and size and like just absolute juggernauts of football. No one compares. And that's what Ten Hag is talking about. That's the pressure that Ten Hag, I think, is realising. It's took him, I feel, whereas I don't like what Ten Hag says, and you know I've all got an issue. You all know I've got an issue with what Ten Hag talks like. I feel like this season I can see little things creeping in with him where he actually is sort of realising and owning up and learning, probably is the biggest word, what Manchester United is. But it's too late. It's too late. When I look at the league table, and this is the damning thing, and this is the worst start that Ten Hag has ever had. If I look at the league table right now, I'm looking at Erling Haaland has scored double the amount of goals in the Premier League that Manchester United's whole squad has. It's embarrassing. It's beyond embarrassing. But the worst one I've seen, and again, this is what Ten Hag is talking about, I feel, in the risk factor of Manchester United and the signing of the new players and the younger players that he's brought in. It is a risk because you need guaranteed goals. And everyone's talked about us needing a natural goal scorer and someone who's going to come right in and score goals, which is just a hard player to find. It's like an impossible player. But the fact that Manchester United have scored 5 goals this Premier League season, and the two clubs, there's only 2 clubs, by the way, that have scored less, and that's Southampton and Ipswich. That's where United are at. That's like, sorry, no. That's where I draw the line. That has to change. This is not Manchester United. 5 goals. Erling Haaland has scored double the amount of goals that Manchester United have in their whole squad in the season. Southampton and Ipswich, 2 newly promoted teams, are the only 2 teams in this league right now who have scored less goals than, yes, the famous Manchester United. The United which was the free-flowing, attacking, exciting football that everybody turned into the Premier League to watch. That's the problem that you've got. You want to give managers a chance. You want to listen and give Ten Hag the opportunity to say his piece and why it's so difficult. And where we do understand it is that we do understand it there, and it is there for us to all see, and we get what he's trying to say. You cannot be in the position that you are as Manchester United. You cannot. If we do not beat Spurs today, and we do not beat Villa next weekend, then United are going to be down in... right down in the bottom half of the table. Right now, we're sitting in 11th. United, if they win today, and this goes like 6 games, and if United win today, everyone will be like, right, we're picking up, here we go again, let's get going again now. That takes us to a maximum 8th position in the league. 8th. And we're apparently turning it around. That's where we finished last season. And you know where I'm going with it? Like, that's the standard, that's the level, and that's the problem that United have got. And whereas you understand everything that he's saying, Ten Hag, I just feel like the previous 2 seasons have completely ruined it for him. You can talk about the trophies, fantastic, but the time is now for Ten Hag. We cannot just say we're still developing. We cannot say that we need time and we've got to work with this squad. No. You won 2 trophies that you go on about all the time, fair enough, with the other squad. And you talking about this squad now, and now we have to start here with this squad. No. What you've backed yourself up with, them 2 squads, the ones that won you them trophies, they were good enough as well to finish in the top 4. And you should be adding better players in with the money that you get from the Champions League, because you have finished in the top 4 where United should be at least finishing every single season. The fact that Chelsea now are literally 1 point off the top of the table. Villa can go to the top of the league today. That's the standard. Look at the teams that they have played as well compared to what United have played. United need to turn up against the big teams. This is the last chance, I think, right now. Ten Hag against Spurs today, Porto and Villa. This is Ten Hag's biggest week in his Manchester United career, because I do believe that the writing will be on the wall if he doesn't succeed. I pray that he does. Honestly, I'm not one of these fans that says, because I don't like Ten Hag, I don't think he will win us the league ever. I think he's good enough to get his top 4. I've just made that point clear. But what I do want to make a point of saying is, look, I'm not one of them fans that just wants United to lose just to end the pain. Look, I asked a question yesterday, and this is why I'm leading into this video from yesterday as well. Like, what would it take for you to be convinced that Ten Hag is the right man? It has to be consistent, attacking, nice football, and something that the fans can really cling on to. I think that's what Manchester United fans need. They need to be convinced by what's happening on the pitch. There's nothing he can do, he can say, he can come out with, or make a statement about that's going to convince anyone. The only thing that convinces fans right now that don't believe in Ten Hag is watching this team play and understanding what they're doing and not seeing the mentality meltdowns that this team has. If Ten Hag gets, let's say, for instance, 2 wins and a draw out of these next 3 games, boom, that's a little bit of a statement, and then you have to build on top of that. That sees him through international break. That sees him into the middle of October, and then he's got that period then. He's got that out of the way. For me, I just look at it and go, it's now that important that we beat Spurs, we beat Villa, and we just move on from there into the international break. It is a massive, massive week for Manchester United, the whole club, not just the manager. I'm going to get into your comments on this one. Just going into quite a bit of detail. I've gone on for Jesus, how long? God. Sorry about that. I wanted to get my point across on what I meant by the big decision and the risk that Manchester United have had to take. It's not all on the signings that Ten Hag has made. He's right. Younger players needed. Need to refresh in the squad. Financial fair play, PSR, everything coming into it. That's really not all his fault. It's the results on the pitch that are his fault, and that's what needs to get better. And hopefully, we have got the right team, the right coaching team, and the right structure behind these younger players to actually get more out of these younger players and help them develop now. And that's what's important for United, because this is it. We've already rolled the dice now. This is what we've got. These younger players now is like Manchester United's future. Garnacho, Ahmad Zirkzee, Lenny Yoro, Rasmus Højlund. All of these players now are United's future. We need to make sure that we look after them and all of the academy players that are coming through. Please give the video a like, everybody. We're creeping up to that 100 like mark. We've got over 500 in the room with us. Thank you for joining us on this early match day live show, giving you updates from the embargoed version of the press conference yesterday. And Ten Hag saying he's taken a chance on bringing these younger players in. That's the decision that the club themselves made together. Ashworth, Barada, Wilcox and Ten Hag, they all made this decision together to go with the younger players to try and build for the future and start fresh now. Problem is, we've had 2 average years. Well, not first season wasn't average. First season was good. Second season was this very, very average for Manchester United. Appalling, actually, in terms of league position. And now the pressure's on for United to get something out of this season. JT in the chat, Rashford has always been average, Bruno has always been above average, but not world class. The problem is everyone's expectations of our players is well above what they actually are. To be honest, like Rashford can do it, Bruno can do it. They're good enough to get top 4. Get there, and then the structure should take control from there, and United should build from that. If you don't think that them players are good enough to make top 4, they shouldn't be in the club right now. But we're too stuck in the situation we're in because of the way the club has been run. And obviously, if we got to top 4, we would probably be looking at better players than them to take United to that next level. I think that's the next stage. All I'm saying is, Bruno, Rashford, the senior players within this squad right now are more than good enough to take Manchester United into that top 4. There's a system there that can work with these players. We've seen it. They can do it. Andrew says, last season, bottom of the Champions League group stages, 8th in the league, a crap FA Cup kept him his job. Jeffrey says, just watch Chelsea on Match of the Day, Cole Palmer. The manager set us up to get through their high line. How about that coach that adapts? Yeah, I know. Why do pundits always claim doom and gloom and claiming a crisis, especially that we have only lost 2 games out of 7? Pundits think they know better than our manager. Trust the process. Yep, Stephen, I get that. But United are 11th in the league. 5 goals. Lowest scoring team in the league, ahead of only Ipswich and Southampton, 2 newly promoted sides. And we've only won 3 games in 7. And the opposition that we've played has been poor. That's probably why, mate. And like I said, if you beat Spurs and Villa, it changes everything. And then your point comes right in and you're looking right instead of the pundits. But if we don't beat Spurs, we don't beat Villa or Porto, then you're looking at 10 games into a season. And that seems like I'm being negative and doom and gloom because I think United can win all 3. And I hope they do win all 3. And then it just spins everything, which is why I said this week is absolutely humongous for Ten Hag and Manchester United. Massive, in fact. It changes the season completely. If we have a positive week this week, it changes the outlook of the season altogether for Manchester United, and that's what needs to happen now. Nothing else that's been said on the off the pitch can do anything. It's all about what's produced on it. Help yourselves to a like button, folks, says Dill. Please do it. It's free and you stand a chance of winning a jacket like the one Adam's got on. No, I still can't remember where I got this one from. Everyone loves this one, but I can't remember where I actually got it from. That first season, I had a look at the players at United and couldn't have been better. He knew some players needed to be moved on. Last season would have been better but for injuries. Sam says, on the other hand, I would like to see a 4-4-2 being played with 2 strikers together on the pitch. A bit of change would be nice, I get that. Malps, I still find it incredible we've gone into this season without a left-back. Unbelievable. Defensively, I've not got an issue. But Manchester United, what have we got this season? In the league, we've got 3 clean sheets. There's not many teams that have got 3 clean sheets. Like United's, where I go into a bit of an issue with United's the attack. Look at the defence. And let's say, for instance, the top 4 right now. Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Chelsea. There is only Liverpool who have conceded less goals than Manchester United. We've got a better defence than City. Same as Arsenal. Better than Chelsea. We're actually better than Villa. Fulham, Newcastle, Brighton. Better. We're level with Spurs, Forest and... Spurs. We're level with Spurs and Forest. So when you look at United's defence right now, and this is a positive for the team, is there's only Liverpool ahead of us, and don't forget we're in 11th. So the 10 teams ahead of us, there's only Liverpool that's got a better defence than Man United. So that's a massive, massive positive. Are we playing a certain way where it is more defensive? And we're not creating? Are we putting more players back? Do we have a new system in place where it's more defence-minded? Let's not get beat. Let's be hard. Let's be a hard-to-beat team. You've got to look at that as well, haven't you? So, yeah, really, are we sacrificing one for the other? But I'm happy with the defence. I am. I think it's been brilliant, and I think the signings have been exceptional. I love it, and that has worked really well. So I'm not even moaning about the signings. I really don't care what anyone says to me about this. Like, I think we've done really well, and you all know I banged the drum this summer. I thought they were excellent signings, all exactly the right price as well. didn't overpay, got the right age, got the right profile player, and the best signings we've had, I feel, have been Mazraoui and De Ligt, who have played a massive part in being part of this mega defence that United have now got. I feel like we've absolutely smashed it in the transfer market this summer, and we did have an issue with the defence. We had a massive issue. It was our worst defensive season on record last season, and we've rectified it, I feel. Obviously, we've got bigger games to come, and we may get games like Liverpool that we had not too long ago where they absolutely battered us, but still, it's looking positive in that part. The younger players up front, there's a bigger pressure, and that's the problem I think we've got. Hi Adam, do you think we got Tuchel? He'll get a better end product from the current team. Huge potential that Erik ten Hag hasn't tapped into yet. Definitely his last season. I don't think Tuchel will come. He's already said no. He doesn't want to work with the hierarchy at Manchester United. Tuchel turned down the chance to manage Manchester United due to the conflicts with the club's transfer policy. Yeah, I think his trademarks just backed me up on that one there. Let's get through a few more comments. Nathan says, Erik ten Hag is finished. It's just a matter of time. We can all see it. After 2 seasons, we have no style of play. We can't score goals. And we have no direction and no leadership on the pitch. Sir Alex Ferguson had bad starts. Adam, look at the points, not places. Yeah, mate. I know. Points, as in 6 points. That's what we've got? Is it? 7 points. That's not good. And yeah, places do count. Like points count for nothing if the team above you has got more and you're in that position. So yeah, no, position in the league is definitely more important than points. I think you have to say that. We need a 4-0 win today, but won't happen. No, we don't. We just need a win, Sam. A win will do. Like Spurs are a decent side. We come away with a win today, I'll be buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. This is a tough game. Adam, what realistically would you be happy with at this stage of the season in the table? And also, where do you think you'd be happy with us finishing? What's respectable this season is top 4. I'm not moving away from that. Sling your hook if you don't get top 4. Said that all along, and I'll stick by it. This team is good enough to get top 4. We can beat every team in this league. We just need to get the mentality right of being consistent with it. So top 4 and a trophy, that's what United. I want top 4 and I want the Europa League. That's my standard for this season. And no one's going to tell me that we can't achieve that. No one's going to tell me. Let's just see now what we've got. I don't know why we choose Ten Hag as manager in the first place. He lost to Tottenham in the Champions League semi and he lost to United Mourinho in the Europa final. Winning Dutch league with Ajax is very average. Is Ruud a good coach? Would he be an improvement? We don't know. It's the unknown, mate. It's the unknown. But we've got a structure in place that is ready to move on any situation now, football-wise. Which is why I've been banging the drum about Ineos as well. And the new structure that's in place, the new regime. Because beforehand, we'd be worried about, what's going to happen next if we do get rid of a manager? Who's it going to be? Really, right now, we're looking at it and going, right, okay, at least if Ten Hag does go, we've got people in place now that know what they're doing and are going to be ready to go with another manager as soon as. That's what we've got to look at as a positive as well in this, that we've actually got a structure in place to deal with the possible scenarios that could come with failings, hopefully more improvements. I think that's good because the structure can obviously help that out, because if we do get into the Champions League like we should do, then we have got a structure in place ready to go with the right type of signings to improve and take Ten Hag to that next level and this team to that next level. I still don't believe that he's the right manager to take us forward to the Premier League title, but he's good enough to take us to this next level, what we need to do. And I'm not having anyone tell me otherwise. I've seen it happen. He's already been in his first season into the top 3, never mind the top 4. I just don't understand how people have accepted the standard drop from last season, saying, it's the injury, it's this, it's that. No. Newcastle had more injuries than United last season, and they finished higher than us. Everyone had injuries, and a lot of Manchester United's injuries were to players that really didn't significantly impact the team. I think not everyone forgets that as well. So I'm not even going to go into it. It's an argument that people will start bringing up again, and I'm nowhere near it. I'm trying to get into game mode right now, but yeah, massive game today. Obviously, the road trip will be back later on, everybody. Make sure that you tune into that. So I'll go into the game more in that video. Wanted to just make a point about what Ten Hag was saying about the signings and where we do understand it. But unfortunately for him, he's out of time in terms of production and producing things on the pitch. And there you go. What you've got to look at is that league position is everything for United. A win today, up to 8th. Hopefully we can beat Villa then the following weekend. I know it's a long shot, but today is massive because it takes the pressure off a little bit off the next 2 games. I shouldn't even be saying that, and I feel like I've dropped my standards straight away and contradicted myself there by saying that, because I really should be saying we should be beating Spurs, Porto and Villa. We have to. We've done it before. We beat Villa twice last season, so there's no reason why, with the improvements that we've made, that we shouldn't be beating them again. So, there you go. Optimistic. It is optimistic. It is positive thinking. United need to win 3 games this week. That should be United standards anyway. But that is the show all wrapped up. Thank you, everybody. I will see you later on, obviously, in the road trip. And then we've got all the match day action and match day content coming to you after the game today against Spurs. We'll be doing a late show, hopefully, with Jay later on in the breakdown this evening. It may be a bit later than normal because of the game, obviously, and me getting back from the game and everything. But stay tuned and make sure you've got your bell notifications switched on and you are subscribed to Forever United TV to see all of the instant reaction after the game today. And obviously we'll get more footage from within. I'm going to do a few different things content wise, but there's going to be loads coming your way today, everyone. But yeah, that is the show this morning. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic day. All the mods and members helping out in the chat. Have a great one, everyone. I'll see you all later for the game. Stay tuned. Make sure that you are ready. And come on, United. Come on, United.